Thank you, everybody, for coming today for our special guest, Alissa, and I'm sure she has done a lot of work in preparation to give us a wonderful presentation. So I will hand it over to Crystal.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. Today we're joined with Alissa. She's a registered dietitian, certified diabetes educator, and the founder of Healthy You, which is a nutrition-based business offering individual counseling and consulting services. So today she's going to be leading our Nutrition 360 workshop, as along with a bonus bake-along session focused on making salted caramel scones. So I'll just hand it over to her to start.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me here today. I am so excited to share with you lots about nutrition. I call this Nutrition 360 because it really goes through a lot of different topics. And I'd say like the most important topics for all of us to consider for overall health. So a little bit about me is I have three little sous chefs who are helping me in the kitchen and a big part of my nutrition world. And they definitely make it a little bit messier, but more exciting. And I work at U of T Faculty of Medicine, been at SickKids for 12 years, and I am doing now just private practice. So I get to be a part of sessions like these. In terms of food, I'm all about keeping it fun and funny. So I'm starting with a food joke. What is a pretzel's favorite dance?
The twist.
Yes! You're the first group to answer it that quickly. I love it. So I'm a huge food nerd. We have to keep it positive because we're in the kitchen multiple times a day, or we're at least around food all the time. So keeping it positive, keeping it fun is key. And I'm a big believer in let food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. So what we feed our body really does predict our overall health. So I'm a big believer that food is a big part of our medication and our medicine, which I love because it plays a role in our overall health and health outcomes. So I'm going to start with a knowledge check. Which of the following nutrients is especially important for bone health? Is it vitamin C, calcium and vitamin D, iron, or omega-3s?
B, yeah.
Amazing superstars. So calcium and vitamin D are the two main nutrients that protect our bones and keep them stronger. So calcium is that key mineral for maintaining our bone density and strength. And vitamin D helps with calcium absorption. Vitamin K is a really important one also, but often overlooked. That actually helps with that bone mineralization, preventing bone loss. So these are things like leafy greens. So the darker the green, the more vitamin K. So Swiss chard, kale, spinach, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. So if you're looking at vitamin D supplements, finding ones that have vitamin K is that bonus, as well as prioritizing food. So how much calcium do we actually need in a day to protect our bones and keep our bones stronger? Because as we start to get older, our bones are demineralizing. It's a natural part of aging that can happen in our 40s, but most definitely faster in our 50s. So we're looking at anywhere from 1,000 milligrams to 1,200 milligrams. And I love calcium from food because it's more readily absorbed. So plant-based milk, almond milk, oat milk, all is fortified with 300 milligrams of calcium per cup. Yogurt, 3/4 of a cup is 225 milligrams. Cheese, tofu that's fortified, and even broccoli has a little bit of calcium. So it's in dairy and non-dairy food sources. So what I typically say is once you know your list of calcium-containing foods, try to get 2 to 3 servings of calcium per day. One of my favorite resources is from Osteoporosis Canada, and it actually is a calcium calculator. So if you do not have any concerns with your bones, even more important to be proactive and preventative, and Google this calcium calculator and enter in what you ate yesterday and see how many milligrams of calcium you're actually getting from food. So It's an awesome tool and it calculates everything for you and it gives you feedback as well. So this is a resource I would share with anyone, even in the absence of osteopenia or osteoporosis. Vitamin D. Unfortunately, our food supply is very low in vitamin D. It's pretty much in potentially salmon, but in the bones. It's in fortified milk, but it's only 100. It's not even, so we would need 6 cups of milk to really get our vitamin D needs, which then leads to other complications of too much milk, right? There is such thing as too much of a good thing. Egg yolks, it's very minimal. And then otherwise, we're pretty much reliant on a supplement because we don't really want the sun exposure to be a source of vitamin D, because then that's another potential area of concern. If you're even using sunscreen with vitamin D, it blocks the absorption from the sun. So sunscreen actually, which we all should be wearing, decreases vitamin D from the sun. So show of hands, who here takes a vitamin D supplement?
Yes.
Go, Charmaine.
No,
go, Susan.
not the vitamin D.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my dairy is very high enough, naturally always.
Yeah.
But it's for. Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Pardon me. Yes, the vitamin D 2000 a day.
Good. That's amazing.
My osteoporosis has gotten very bad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but it's super, with my condition, it's super high risk.
Yeah.
Pardon me, I was thinking calcium for a moment.
Yeah, I know. I'm blending topics here, but they are connected, right? So I would check out this calcium calculator from Osteoporosis Canada and see how much you're getting, working towards 1,200 milligrams per day. Okay. If you're taking a supplement from calcium, not all of it's absorbed. Only the, my brain is missing a word right now, but 30% of some supplements is absorbed by, it's the elemental calcium. So if you look at a calcium supplement and it says 1,000 milligrams, only 30% of that's being absorbed. But 100% of calcium from food is absorbed. Does that make sense? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Susan.
And I think what's very important is for you to have a pure, very pure supplements.
Yes, because a lot of the calcium ones are filled with sugar, like gummies. Exactly. So I actually, for a more cost-effective solution, it's not that healthy as clean and pure, but I also love Tums. Tums are calcium carbonate. It's the cheapest, easiest way to top up your calcium intake because Tums Ultra has 1,000 milligrams of calcium carbonate. And again, only 30% or 40% of that is absorbed. But I love Tums. But vitamin D, these are the drops. It's better to get it in an oil form because vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so it's more readily absorbed. So if you do drops on your hand, you can do 10 drops, lick it off your hand, and you're done for the whole week. You don't need to take it every day. But Charmaine, I like that you're taking 2,000 every day for consistency. Right? But vitamin D, I usually get the oil form and I lick it off my hand because if I put it into a cup, it sticks to the perimeter of the cup. Okay. And if I'm just taking shots like this, I don't know how many I've gotten in my mouth. Right?
I over-D'd on it. And
There's no such thing. Yeah.
I didn't mean it. My doctor phoned and told me, okay, back way off. There.
Oh, okay.
According to my blood work, it was way too much for me.
Okay.
For me personally, and
That's good to know. Usually the upper limit is 30,000 per day. So, but it's good that these are all the things that you're all surveilling. This is perfect. So the reality is for calcium, food; for vitamin D, a supplement, and see if you can find vitamin D with a K. This one I don't have. Okay, but it is available. So again, take 7 drops once a day for your entire week and top up as needed. Muscle mass. Muscle mass is something that we all are at risk for losing. But with the dietitian behind it all, our muscle mass could be maintained and even further strengthened. Because it's called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the loss of muscle mass. And that happens, again, once we kind of hit our late 40s, early 50s. So we can prevent that. Before we begin, which nutrient is the most filling and therefore delays our hunger and can reduce our overall calorie intake? Is it protein, fats, or carbohydrates?
Protein.
I think you all know very well. Do we all agree? Is protein the answer? Hello, Deborah.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. So, drum roll. The answer is Susan or Charmaine. Who answered? Was it Susan? You are correct. It is protein. If you all know me, protein is my best friend because protein actually keeps you fuller longer. So, for example, if I have a bag of chips, it's mostly just carbohydrates and fat, or even a bag of chocolate, like mini eggs. Will that signal fullness or would that make me nauseous if I finish the whole bag?
Nauseous.
I'll feel nauseous. I'm not going to feel full. I'm just going to feel a bit like, okay, that was not so, now I feel unwell. Whereas if I have 6 chicken breasts, how am I going to feel?
Really full.
Beyond full.
Exactly, because protein actually impacts our gut hormones. It increases something called leptin and it decreases something called ghrelin. So protein actually makes us fuller neurologically as well. And it also has a high thermic effect. So we actually burn more calories eating protein. So protein is my priority macronutrient, especially in the context of muscle mass. So the more protein we get, it supports our muscle mass preservation, it improves our bone density, and it even helps in managing our weight and insulin resistance. So when should we actually be having protein? Research has shown that if we actually distribute protein throughout the day, it actually helps with better muscle protein synthesis and even muscle retention. So not eating it at one meal, so not saving it for dinner. In fact, prioritizing protein within 1 to 2 hours of waking has actually been the most favorable for muscle protein synthesis. And also, so we're building muscle more effectively. So if you start your day off with protein, it actually leads to a better outcome over the rest of your day in terms of building more muscle. There was also a lot of research that if you actually prioritize protein in the evening, it improves overnight muscle repair. And if you are working out, it's called your anabolic window. So make sure to have protein within 30 to 60 minutes after your exercise to boost that muscle recovery. So in summary, for protein, timing does matter. So spacing it out throughout the day, but prioritizing first thing in the morning and in the evening. And if you are working out within that hour, have a little bit of a protein top up to get the most out of our workout. And there's 2 different types of protein. There's plant-based sources and animal-based sources. Can someone tell me what they see here as the animal-based sources? And you can share
Beef, pork for starters.
Love, amazing. Yep.
Yeah, there's more.
Yep. Animal-based sources are also dairy products. So like Greek yogurt.
Tofu.
Yeah. Tofu is the plant-based protein.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yep.
And then all the nuts and seeds are a plant-based protein, but they also have a lot of fats in them too. So it's a bit of both. And then, so tofu and soy products are plant-based, nuts and seeds. And then the other plant-based proteins are legumes. Chickpeas, lentils, kidney beans are also proteins as well. So we need a combination of both. We need the plant-based and animal-based proteins, especially for cholesterol management. So we'll talk more about that at the end of the session, but these are a few of my favorite things. They're a little bit expensive, and some of them, most of them you can get from Walmart, and I get all my stuff from Walmart. But Joya milk is out there, and it's 18 grams of protein per cup. There's also these pre-made protein shakes that just keep it easy and simple. These are sold at Costco, the Fairlife ones. Has anyone seen these before? Yes. They are also really good. Simply protein bars are okay, but they're a cleaner ingredient. I love Quest chips, but they're expensive, and if my kids touch them, I take them away. They're my chips, okay? They have 20 grams of protein per bag, and they're very low in carbs.
Oh, wow.
I also love Carbonot bread. Carbonot bread is high protein, 7 grams of protein per slice, and the net carbs are really low. They sell these at Costco and in the freezer section of almost every grocery store, including No Frills.
Okay.
Protein up wraps, they're harder to find now. I think they're almost becoming, they're no longer available, but they might be available. But there's 10 grams of protein in these wraps. But these ones I buy from Walmart, they're called Be-Free wraps. I would highly recommend getting these wraps to make some lunches or breakfast kind of wraps like egg burritos. But these are awesome because they're low carb, high protein. And then I also recommend high protein, low carb noodles. These are found in the organic section in almost every grocery store, but they are a little bit more expensive. So they're almost like something I would purchase like once every 2 weeks, once a month. But they're like $4 a bag, but they're really high protein and really low carb. And then also just looking for legume pasta. Red lentil pasta tastes way better than chickpea pasta. And I highly recommend this one. It's not lower carb, but it's higher protein. So as I said earlier, the biggest suggestion was trying to get 20 to 30 grams of protein with your meals and about 10 to 15 grams of protein with your snacks. So this is my little mini grocery store. And then moving on to resistance training. So who here does any resistance training? Like muscle strengthening exercises?
Oh, I do now.
Amazing. Yes. Okay.
We do the hydrotherapy.
Love.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so good for your body because it just really prevents any injury because there's no like impact to the exercise, right? And we don't, and you know, that's an amazing way to get that movement in. And even the water pressure is also resistance training. So it's fantastic. But with the more muscle strengthening we're doing, and I always say, start off with your free body weight, meaning no weights, right? Using your own arms, just like spinning them in the air, right? And then going wider. That's weight. Your arms are weight as well. I don't know if everyone can see me, so I apologize if not. But just arm spinning is a big one too, right? And then the wider we go, right, it does provide that pressure that helps to give your body that resistance to build that muscle and bone mass. But the guidelines are suggesting that we need 2 to 3 muscle strengthening workouts a week. So I really suggest with free body weights, or even looking at like Googling a beginner class of anything, a beginner Pilates, a beginner yoga, stretching, to get that resistance eventually going to prime yourself to maybe 5 pounds. And then we kind of stop there, but we go slow. But if we get more muscle mass, our metabolism starts to increase. And we prevent the muscle loss, which I mentioned earlier, which is sarcopenia. And in fact, 4 months of resistance training, which is 2 or 3 times a week, can actually reduce our fat mass and increase our muscle mass by up to 3 kilos for both. And as a result, increase our metabolic rate by 7%. So that resistance training is essential for bones and muscle and metabolism. Okay, where our body stores the weight matters. I'm sorry, okay? And I work a lot with how as we get a bit older, our body weight distribution changes. And in fact, it likes to sit central, okay, around our stomach regions. But that could also be prevented because what sits right behind our stomachs? What organs?
Our intestines.
Yes. Our intestines, our stomach, our liver and our pancreas, and our liver controls cholesterol production and fatty liver, and our pancreas controls our blood sugars. So I'm less concerned if you're more likely to store a bit more weight as we're getting a bit older in our legs and our arms. We may not love that so much, but there's nothing going on in our thighs, okay, but muscle and fat mass, okay? But centrally, that's the region that I'm really protective of. So I actually recommend, if you're going to the doctor, ask them to do a waist circumference and monitor, or even do one in the home. Use your jeans as a potential way of measuring, but that waist circumference should be a part of how we're kind of checking in on our body composition. It's not just the weight on the scale, right? It's kind of where our body's storing the weight. And I also tend to love looking at very cheap, inexpensive scales from Amazon that actually look at your percent body fat. I'm okay with that. It's not overly accurate, but if the trends of your percent body fat go down over time, that's really good. So how do we prevent our metabolism from slowing down and keep it as fired up as possible? So this goes, and I know I've been I've been around for a few years now, so everyone knows where my philosophies lie, where I do recommend still following a bit of an eating schedule. So aiming to eat within 1 to 2 hours of waking, and then refueling every 2 to 3 hours. Think about your gas tank as needing to be refilled in the morning, so you wake up empty, and then it needs to be refueled every 2 to 3 hours. 3 hours is okay. So I'm not asking you to eat all day, but I am asking us to refuel at least every 3 hours. And here's the reason. If we're eating more often throughout the day, it gives us a chance to actually meet all of the nutrients our body needs. So for example, if I wait all day to get my protein at dinner, my body only absorbs 40 grams of protein. If I'm loading up and trying to get more at dinner, it stops absorbing it. If I eat more regularly, I have a faster metabolism. If most people go more than 4 hours without eating, they actually start to store the food. And it says, I don't know the next time Deborah's going to feed me, I'm going to hold on to this, as opposed to burning off that food. It also regulates your energy levels, your concentration and your focus. So getting proper nutrition throughout the day does actually play a role in mood regulation and even preventing that term hangry. Who knows what hangry is? I think we've talked about this. It's my sister. Susan, do you know?
Yeah, being hungry, you're saying in your mind that you need to eat something, and quite often you'd go for sweets.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot harder to choose healthier food choices if you're starving, right? So if I haven't eaten enough all day, do you think I want the cake or the salad? Bring on the cake. And I'm not even taking it out of the box. Okay. I'm just going to fork it. So eating regularly actually regulates our appetite. It makes it easier to follow what I'm saying because you're not starving. You haven't gone too long. In fact, if you're really hungry, you've likely waited way too long. But it also helps to kind of keep that emotion. So hangry is hungry and angry. So prevents that kind of angry potential tone. And you're also role modeling healthy behaviors in the home and to other family members. So when you think about your daytime and you think about lunch, it's not just packing lunch. It's potentially including a morning snack, your lunch, and then an afternoon snack. A lot of people I work with just pack a sandwich and that's what they eat all day. Is that nearly enough food?
Nope.
We're missing 2 eating times and maybe not the right portion distributions of things. So this brings me to my famous plate. We all know this now. Tell me, what should half our plate be for every meal and every snack?
The vegetables or, salad.
Fruit.
Exactly. And everyone hold your fists up because your fists are proportional to your bodies. Okay. So we want 2 fists for meals and 1 fist for a snack. And I don't typically say have more than 2 servings of fruit per day. So just be mindful that fruit should just be 2 servings per day. Okay. So half our plate being vegetables or fruit, but just limiting our fruit servings to 2 fists per day. And then what should the other 2 smaller quarters be?
Protein.
Yes.
And your carbohydrate. Yeah.
Exactly. So similar portion for carbs is our fist. But the only portion I say we don't need to have every time we're eating is the carbs. We don't always need the carbs 4 to 5 times a day. It's okay some meals to skip it. In fact, we're a little bit more insulin resistant at night. When melatonin rises, preparing our bodies for sleep, insulin resistance increases. So we're more likely to store carbs if we're eating them with dinner. All of us. Okay. But the problem is no one's hopping and skipping to carrot sticks, okay, at night. So that's the only major challenge. But the idea is we do want this plate to be on our radars. And we now know earlier for protein, it's a combination of plant-based and animal-based proteins. So this is what this plate looks like. And I do love it because even though it's a very simple plate, it's not so easy in real life. So for breakfast, we need that plate, a morning snack, a lunch, an afternoon snack, and then for dinner. And that is what properly fuels us. And as I mentioned again, we don't always need the carb. We don't always need the starch, but we absolutely need the protein and we need the fiber from vegetables and then 2 servings of fruit per day. Okay. And the proteins are now that hybrid of milk, cottage cheese, and yogurt as well. So that's where that calcium stuff is popping up. But if I'm asking you to have half your plate vegetables with meals, does that mean it has to be the same old steamed broccoli every time? No. Let's make vegetables taste delicious. I have cauliflower rice. Show of hands, who here has ever had spiralized zucchini noodles? Yay, Janet!
They're good.
Right? And they're so easy. And then what about spaghetti squash?
Yes.
Amazing. Or even carrot French fries. Carrots are $2 for a bag. I just chop them up in the shape of French fries. And then I add some Parmesan cheese. And now we have some crispy French fries that are carrots. Or even stuffed peppers. Taking some peppers and stuffing them as a base makes them taste delicious. I make these like layered with fresh mozzarella, meat sauce, tomato, and then I just roast them in the oven. So make your vegetables taste yummy. So what's missing from this breakfast? Let's try to follow the plate method. So what's missing from this breakfast?
Everything.
Yes. Okay. This is more what we're talking about. We have eggs with a little bit of cheese, loaded with veggies, and we reduce the bread from 2 slices to 1. What's missing from this lunch or dinner?
Vegetables. It's like a vegetable of some sort,
Exactly. You all know. So we're missing all the color, right? But the reality is the plate sounds so easy. It's not so easy in real life. Because if we go to a restaurant, if we order in, or if we're cooking at home, the rice portions are 2 cups, not half a cup. Ramen noodles are 2.5 cups, not half a cup. Italian pizza restaurants, we need a quarter of that, not the whole thing. And we know that these aren't filling food, so we can totally take it down. My Italian mother, do you think she cooks the entire box of pasta or just a portion of it?
A box. Whole box.
She's dumping that whole box in. And when it's in front of me, what do you think I'm going to want? Or my kids? We want all the pasta, right? So cooking less to guide healthier portions is key. But the plate sounds easy in theory, but when it comes to actually making it happen, it becomes a bit harder. And even our environment makes it hard. So for example, bagels used to be 140 calories. Now they're 360.
Yeah.
So if I go to Tim Hortons and I ask for a bagel, and let's just say they give me the small one, what do you think I'm going to say? Like a little mini one for 140 calories.
Give me two.
I'll be like, what? Is this like a new thing? Are these like Timbits bagels? Like, right? Our expectations are bigger. We expect more now, right? Because if they all of a sudden shifted back to how things were 20 years ago, it would be a bit of a shock to us as well. In addition to that, plate sizes are growing. So back in the day, our plates were 9 inches, and now our dishes are 12 inches. And who here remembers Tim Hortons recently cut out their size small? And what they did was they renamed the medium a small. They renamed a large.
That's a few years ago already.
Yes, exactly, Charmaine. But people don't even know that happened, even though it happened. So we expect bigger now, right? For that word small. Our expectations for larger portions are there and higher. So my kids won't ever know that they used to actually have smaller sizes that actually help to support our health goals. But unfortunately, the point here is we can't really rely on our food environment to guide healthier choices, guide healthier portions. It requires kind of us rising above to know what our bodies need and match it as best as possible. So asking for half the portion of rice, asking for double the veggies, double the protein goes a long way. The problem is my husband's very shy, so he will never modify an order. Whereas I'm like, can I please get half this and double that? So I have to be the one to speak up a little bit more. So in terms of carbohydrates, that starch portion, the type of carb matters. So I do typically say, try to choose starches that have a lower glycemic index. Meaning that red line we want to avoid. We want to avoid major spikes in our sugars. So things like white flour, white rice, white pasta, those all cause a rapid spike and then it comes down dramatically. And that our pancreas doesn't like. Our pancreas likes to release insulin very slowly. It likes that delayed response. So those are low glycemic index foods. And this is a great resource to look into. Diabetes Canada created this red, yellow, and green, a traffic light approach. So what does green mean? So if you're driving or going anywhere, what does green mean on traffic lights? Green means?
Go.
Yeah.
Oh. Yellow means?
Caution.
Yes. And then red means?
Stop.
But I just mean in moderation. So for food products that raise our blood sugars, choose the green. So for example, things like quinoa or even trying barley or switching to all brand buds or mixing that into your cereals, those are low glycemic index carbs. They also have fruit that raises your blood sugar. And there's a green list to go with, not just berries. We could do apples, we could do cantaloupe. A lot of diets just have berries, but you could do more, but choose the low glycemic index. Essentially try to limit or avoid watermelon. I'm so sorry, summer. Okay, summer watermelon fruit, and also very ripe bananas. Okay, so actually choosing bananas that are a little bit greener, not yet brown, is more preferable from a blood sugar standpoint and a glycemic index standpoint. So let's make some swaps. So instead of watermelon, what can we try?
Oh, honeydew.
So that means all melon?
No, this one here has honeydew melon.
Right, yeah.
Cantaloupe are low.
Cantaloupe.
Yes, good question. Yeah. Okay. But basically, when I'm looking here, if I think about watermelon, instead of watermelon, choose some orange slices.
Yeah.
Instead of white potato, choose sweet potato.
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah. Instead of white rice, try quinoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the starches that have that kind of delayed sugar release and are a lot better for our pancreas and our blood sugar control.
Yeah, I just have a quick question I didn't notice mentioned about for breads.
Yes.
Like obviously avoiding the white flours. How is rye as far as a flour by comparison? I know I tend to, for toast and that, I happen to really like rye.
Yeah, rye I think is a medium.
So it's not quite as bad.
It is not. Let's see here. So grains.
Not as bad as white.
The best ones would be actually, I love sourdough.
Yeah.
A whole grain sourdough.
That's not, and I haven't had it in ages. I didn't.
Jim's the best.
We're bringing back the sourdough, okay? Because the way that they ferment the sourdough, it leads to a lower glycemic response.
Oh, interesting.
And then what I would say though is anything with more than 4 grams of fiber. So that actually is a good question, Charmaine, because it leads us to our label reading. How do I choose breads? How do I make sure there's enough fiber? Fiber helps to lower cholesterol. It promotes fullness. It improves our blood sugars and our digestive health. Okay. So it's my favorite F word. Okay. Lots of benefits. So if I'm looking for fiber, I'm looking for 25 to 35 grams per day. That's pretty much in vegetables and fruits and chickpeas and lentils and kidney beans. And then going back to the bread question, whole grains or bread, crackers, bars, the whole grains with a lot of fiber, that's the ticket item. So if we need 25 to 30 grams per day, at least fill your plate up with half vegetables or fruit to help you meet those needs. And that fiber helps with digestion, blood sugar, and cholesterol. But if I'm looking at a label, so this is the bread product, Charmaine, just choose bread products with more than 4 grams of fiber per serving. Rye, I think, only has 2. Okay, so check out the rye that you might have and see how many grams of fiber per serving it actually includes.
So you want to aim for in your breads like 4 grams of fiber per slice,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because then that makes sure it's a little bit more whole grain.
Yeah, and I just noticed one thing when you went back to the screen, could not read everything.
Yeah.
The converted rice is actually in the green.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yahoo.
Yeah. Exactly. But I still want you to try things like, I'll show you. I still want you to explore, because I run a weight loss group program and I make sure that they only do low glycemic, but I would love for you to explore things like bulgur.
Oh, that's good.
Right? Mm-hmm. Or even buckwheat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Or even
we just had ploy yesterday for lunch, like buckwheat the New Brunswick or Acadian buckwheat pancakes.
Exactly. That's the stuff that I love because it's better quality ingredients for your body, which causes less inflammation. And it actually has a better glycemic, like a blood sugar response. High five to you. Yes. Okay, we're all going to Charmaine's house for pancakes tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so then in terms of juice, so we're going to wrap up with juice and then we're actually going to switch over to a recipe I'm going to make with you together today. Okay, so guess how many oranges it takes to make 1 cup of juice, which is about half here of this portion.
4.
Okay. Close. Does anybody want to offer something else up?
Carol says 8.
Okay, Carol, you might be onto something. The answer is 6.
Oh, yes.
6 oranges to make 1 cup of juice. Okay. Could we eat 6 oranges in one sitting?
No.
Maybe not, but if we do, how are we going to feel?
Really full.
Full, exactly. But could we chug 1 cup of juice?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's missing from the oranges? What when you squeeze all the juice out, what's missing on the inside?
The fiber.
My favorite F word. Okay. So all the fiber is missing. So it's really important to recognize that juice should be either completely reduced or eliminated, or if you do enjoy juice, just half a cup a day. Okay. Because it's pretty much just the sugar and they've removed all the fiber and it's very concentrated. Knowledge check, true or false? Is it common to confuse thirst with hunger?
Yes, true.
Yes. So thirst and hunger are a part of that hypothalamus, the same part of our brain. So if you're not getting enough hydration, you actually might think you're hungry, but you're really just thirsty. In fact, almost 40% of people confuse thirst for hunger. So one of my biggest tricks is to make sure you're getting at least 6 to 12 cups of water per day. So show of hands, who here is actually getting at least 8 cups of water per day?
I got
Not that much.
Okay.
You probably don't get it.
Maybe one of like our tips together. I can't see Janet, Crystal, are we getting water?
Not that much.
Not that much.
I'm drinking about 4 to 6.
Okay, that's good. But I would say like the more we get, the better. Okay. It's so important to stay hydrated. And even if it's in the form of a tea, like an herbal tea, adding in some like peppermint or making it a little bit more fun, but we do need that water. Okay. So we can get some fun water bottles out there, set reminders on our phone, add some lemons or limes and make it even more exciting, etc. I'm going to shift gears, if that's okay, just for the sake of time, just to my cooking demo. But everyone here does have access to these slides. So the only thing we haven't gotten into is cholesterol. Okay. And we've, I think, already reviewed cholesterol in our previous session on label reading, where we talk a little bit about saturated fats. So this is kind of the world of cardiometabolic concerns. Okay. And essentially, I'll have you potentially take a peek at the slides yourself to look to see what I'm talking about when it comes to choosing healthier fats. Okay. Because I'm excited to, and in terms of just cholesterol, I would actually take a peek at your blood work and see what your LDL levels are. So who here's had an annual in the last 6 months or a year? Like a blood work done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Every area.
Every year? Okay. If it's okay with you, send me an email with what your levels are. Okay. Tell me your LDLs. I want to know. Because our LDL should be less than 3.5. But if you're a little bit more high risk, it should be less than 2.
Less than 2.
LDLs.
Okay. And then my response to you is going to be like, did you review the slides? Okay, on cholesterol. And also I'll offer some more tips and tricks. Okay, so we just talk about the types of fats and we're going to move over to meal planning. So in terms of what we've talked about today, we've talked about a lot. We've talked about bone health and really prioritizing calcium, at least 2 to 3 servings per day. And as you can see in this summary for our meals, we're trying to get 200 to 400 milligrams per day. We've talked about vitamin D, but you all know it's essentially just a supplement. Okay. We've talked about protein, my best friend. Okay. It should become yours too. And that's 20 to 30 grams of protein with meals and 10 to 15 grams of protein with snacks. We've talked a lot about fiber indirectly, which should be here to help with digestion, blood sugar, our lower glycemic index starches. So we're looking at around 10 grams of fiber per meal or 2 to 5 grams of fiber per snack. So this is my little cheat sheet when it comes to our meals and when it comes to our snacks to keep us on check and super healthy. This is what we're looking for. So I'm actually making a recipe that is that kind of putting all of it together. We're going to cook together salted caramel scones. And I'm going to show you, I've done the nutritional analysis to see if it meets all of my criteria for a snack. Are you ready? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing so you can see my screen a little bit larger. And we're going to, I'm just going to get some lighting over here so we can all see together. But we're going to focus here on this bowl. Okay? Oh, you've spotlighted me. Thank you, Alan. So in this bowl, we're going to start with 1.5 cups of almond flour. And everyone knows I love my almond flour because it's high in, does anyone know what's almonds?
Protein.
Exactly. Protein, iron, and even calcium as well. I'm doing 1/4 cup of coconut flour. Coconut flour is also high in protein and high in fiber and low in carbs. So both of them are very low in carbs. I'm then adding 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Seems like a little bit more than a tablespoon, so I'm just going to do a bit less. But 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And then I'm adding in here 2 tablespoons of maple syrup and a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. And I'm also adding, for a bonus, because remember, I'm focusing on calcium and everything, Greek yogurt. So 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt is going into this mixture here. Right. So I'm going to give this all a mix. And you'll notice, I wonder if I can make it go down a little bit more. It forms a really nice texture dough, and it should all essentially turn into a ball. And it smells so good. And what is in the Greek yogurt that I care about? Why did I choose Greek yogurt out of any other yogurt?
Protein.
Exactly, the protein. So it's forming into a really nice ball. Okay, I'll let it sit here for just a quick second. Okay, and before I roll it, I'm actually going to show you how I make these salted caramel scones. So give me one quick sec. I'm going to turn make this the focus, the star. This here is a baking tray. Oh, and I forgot to say I have to add scorbits. I'm going to add a few scorbits to this mixture. Okay. But I have here some no sugar added or fat-free caramel sauce. This is a baking tray here with some parchment paper. And I'm going to line this parchment paper with some caramel sauce. I'll do it both ways because I'm excited about this. Okay. Then I'm going to add in here some toffee bits. So this is how, so the bottom of our scones become really salted, crunchy caramel. Okay. Have I won you over yet? Okay. So then let's go back to this scone here, this bowl. So in this bowl, I'll give it one more mix because I added in the toffee bits, but it forms the perfect dough. Give me 1 second. And I'm just going to scoot this out. Okay. So this here is my ball. So I'm going to roll it into a ball and have some fun with it. And it's just such minimal ingredients. It's essentially yogurt and really healthy flours. So can everyone see the ball here? Hello. Okay, so I'm going to press it flat, just like this, and kind of secure the shape a little bit better. All right. And I'm going to take a longer knife and I'm going to cut it into little cute triangles to turn it into scones. Okay. And then here. And guess what? I'm going to put them on my tray like so. So I have my scones that are beautiful. Do we see them? The triangles? And we're going to just put them on here and bake them for 14 minutes. And that's it. And guess what? We have scones. And because I love everyone so much and I want to convince you that they turn out beautifully, so this is what my final product looks like. I've actually made another batch to show you what they look like when they're done.
Oh, wow.
These here are my scones. So they're crunchy on the bottom. So you can see like the caramel is really yummy and crunchy. And they have a really nice height to them. And they smell so vanilla-y and caramelly and delicious. And I'm going to just prove to you, so that concludes our little cooking demo. I'm going to prove to you that they do meet all of our nutritional criteria. So I'm going to share my screen again with really sticky fingers. Give me 1 second. All right. So I'm going to prove to you here that these snacks are within 150 to 200 calories. So the total is 199. The saturated fat is low, so they're not contributing to more cholesterol, which it should be under 2 grams per snack. Our fiber is 4.2, and it should be between 2 to 5 grams of fiber per snack. The protein, drum roll, is 11.2, and it should be between 10 to 15 grams. And the calcium for our bone health is 100 milligrams, and it should be 100 to 200 milligrams. Okay. So the sugar, though, might be a little bit more because I didn't include the scorbits, but the caramel sauce is fat-free and a sugar-free one. Okay. So you don't need the caramel sauce and you don't need as many scorbits, but they make it a little bit more fun and exciting, and it's a balance of the other ingredients. So my final thought for today is we've talked about a lot, and these slides are here as resources for you. But it's important to remember that any small change you make leads up to big results. And each step towards building momentum turns into wins and long-term success. So a big part of my philosophy is nothing extreme. Any small change goes a long way.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
You're all amazing, and it was so nice to see you.
It
Nice
was
to meet you,
wonderful.
Crystal. Alan, you too. And I hope you have a goal also for yourself, Crystal. You too, Alan.
Yeah.
So do we just email you? Thank you so much.